we actually had a lot to cover today, and I'm also going to touch up on some new subjects for this podcast. So, what we're going to cover today, to give you the overview, is we're going to start off by giving some commentary on Coach Kellen Moore's podcast, wrong thing, press conference. He had a short press conference with the New Orleans sports media on Monday, I believe. He was out and checking out the prospects for this year's draft. So we're going to give our quick commentary on that. He had quite a lot to say, and we're gonna share some thoughts on that. So next on the list, we're gonna shift into some basketball, pro basketball, the NBA, but only specifically the Pelicans. For those who don't know, I love the Pelicans with all my heart. I'm a big fan. It's just sad how things have gone, but I'll touch on that momentarily. And then I kind of caused quite a stir on social media with my comments in regards to Jaxson Dart being a great pick for the New Orleans Saints in the draft. So we'll cover that towards the end of this video. So, but as of right now, I'm just kind of like dodging bullets. It's like, oh goodness. Apparently, some Saints fans online did not care for the idea of Jaxson Dart, which I did say was controversial. Did I not? You can check it on my last video. So, so, but anyway, let's go ahead and bring up Kellen Moore's press conference. So the overview of everything, he was talking about the draft prospects. He was discussing what the team currently needs and certain players on the team. The one thing I can definitely say for certain is that Chris Olave is definitely not going anywhere. And he basically told us without actually telling us. So for all those buffoons out there who want Chris Olave to be traded, I hope you guys have a lot of tissues on hand, because that he's not going anywhere. He's still with the Saints. So at least now it could change. I'm realistic about that, because you just never know with the NFL these days. Like we've seen crazy trades happening with players that you think, okay, yeah, he's not going to be traded at all. Well, they end up getting traded anyway by some wild package. So now, like, I'm going to be hesitant on. I don't want to brag too much that Chris Olave is still likely to be here, but it's a good possibility that Mickey Loomis might pull a wild hair and even do that. So, but at this point, by the way Coach Moore sounded, it sounds like he's a major asset to the team, like Alvin Kamara is, and all of them. So, but yeah, so that puts those rumors down to rest, thank God. So, with that being said, like, he was going over how Chris Olave is a great asset to the team, and that his skill talents should be utilized better, and he's hoping to bring out those skills out on the field next season coming up. So that's something we definitely need, because we know Chris Olave is a talented receiver. The problem is, and like I said, it's my humble opinion, that he's not a wide receiver one. And if Kellen Moore can make him that way, then great, awesome. But realistically, I think, like I said in the last video, I think we should consider drafting another receiver, just so that receiver can be an actual wide receiver one, and then we can just go from there. But I'm not the coach, so I don't make these decisions, and I'm not the GM either. So, so with that being said, it sounds like they're going to still try and make him wide receiver one. That's totally fine, which makes me kind of think they may or may not draft another receiver, which I don't agree with, because like I said, we need another playmaker on this team, and any of the receivers that I mentioned in the last video would be great picks. Or heck, we could even pick Ashton Gianti, and that's something I would greatly would prefer. Because, like I said, we do need another running back. So that's definitely needed. So, but anyway, so that's all he had to say in regards to Chris Olave. Then he kind of like touched up on the draft, and it's kind of like things I've mentioned already, and but the one thing that kind of caught my attention was the quarterback position. He kept going on how Derek Carr is a great quarterback for this team, and he's been a worthy quarterback for the league. Well, I, I guess I'll just let him figure it out on his own, because we've been watching Derek Carr now for 2 years, and he just absolutely stinks. So, plus, I really hope that Kellen Moore is prepared to like really figure out that he's not going to be available health-wise, because I presume he's going to find a way to get himself injured like he did last season. So it's just I'm not sure why he thinks that Derek Carr is a good enough quarterback. I really don't know why, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not the coach. That's his call. It's just in my opinion, there's a better quarterback on the team currently sitting behind him, and that's Spencer Rattler. Now, is he like 10 times better than him? No, but he's someone you can groom that could be better. We've seen flashes of him last season go off against. We've seen him go off against good teams, and of course bad ones as well. But at the same time, it's just like I don't like that decision. But at the same time, it's like we can't do anything about it because of the contract that they signed. And Derek Carr's contract is horrendous. Let's put it that way. Oh, God. I wish they had thought that contract was better. Thanks a lot, Mickey Loomis. But enough about that. So he had those comments to share about Derek Carr. Well, speaking of Spencer Rattler, he did touch up on him as well. So he mentions that Spencer Rattler has some potential talent in him. Let's put it that way. I'm summarizing, by the way. So like he has a lot of great talent that just hasn't been utilized correctly, and he also made a pretty good point that usually rookie quarterbacks in year one are just trying to figure things out. And you know what? We all said that last season. And for all the Spencer Rattler haters out there who just hated him for no reason, and they was hating him for all the wrong reasons, well, you know what? Your own coach, your brand new head coach, just said, usually, you got to give him time. Like, he's not going to just go take off like what's his name? Jaden Daniels at Washington. He's not going to take off like Joe Burrow. He's apparently not all rookie quarterbacks are like them. Like, not every rookie quarterback is going to go out there and just completely light up the field. Most rookie quarterbacks struggle, and Spencer Rattler struggled. And now, of course, like I've said before, the circumstances should be applied because Spencer Rattler literally was playing with Burger King employees. Like, it's bad. Like, they were just putrid. Pathetic. Like, I think his best player that he was throwing to was Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Or was it Juwan Johnson, really? He had no one to throw to. And he didn't have a line to back him up. Like, he can scramble. We saw him scramble pretty well for the most part. But again, he's a rookie quarterback from last season. And those who are constantly like putting him down, it's just like, why are you doing that? Where's that energy towards, say, Derek Carr? These are the same people who hate Spencer Rattler but prefer Derek Carr or like Derek Carr. I'm just like, what the heck? Like, come on, man. So it's like you got to understand, Spencer Rattler was put in a way worse situation than Derek Carr. Derek Carr actually had weapons to at least work with. And now, granted, Derek Carr is technically the more experienced and the better quarterback on the roster. I will go as far as to say that. But at the same time, Rattler just did not get a shot, and I will continue to say that. He got a shot. Let me rephrase that. He did get a shot, but it was with the wrong players. He was literally working with preseason players that he played well against, but they're going up against another team's starters. You're just asking for failure from there. So it's like, that's why I give Spencer Rattler a lot of grace. And I'm glad that Coach Moore has seen that, and I'm glad that he mentioned that it does take time for a rookie quarterback to really develop. And at the same time, now Rattler's got to learn a whole new offense under Kellen Moore's leadership that he did last season. Now, will it change much? Because from what I heard, Kellen Moore likes to run the ball. It may not change as much, but you never know. He might have some tricks up his sleeve. We'll find out come preseason. But he sees that Rattler has potential, and that's what I really respect out of Coach Moore, because Spencer Rattler does have potential. We saw in the field last season, like when he led a mini comeback against the Buccaneers before unfortunately losing pretty badly to them. And then what's another good game I could think of? Again, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think it was the last game of the season, he played pretty well, but then he just couldn't finish the deal. So I think under his guidance, under Coach Moore's guidance, he could be the next rising star. Now, time will tell if that will actually happen, and of course, we got assuming Derek Carr goes down again. We got to see if he actually falls through with that. So, while I don't want to say Spencer Rattler should be starting right this minute, when I wish I would love for him to start right this minute over Derek Carr, anybody but Derek Carr at this point. I'm also realistic to that what the team is currently trying to do. So they want Derek Carr as their starter, and Spencer Rattler will likely be backup. Now, will the Saints draft another quarterback? That's up to them. I'm not in control of the Saints. I don't know what their thought process is. They could go draft a freaking lineman for all I care for. So I really don't know at this point. So with that being said, those were some nice highlights I picked up on that were very noteworthy by Coach Moore's press conference. So, but anyway, so let's go to topic number 2, and this is where we're going to shift it to the basketball part. So, the New Orleans Pelicans, let me pull up their stats real quick. Here we go. The New Orleans Pelicans. Oh, God, where do I even start? Oh, man. Like I said, I love my Pelicans to death. But good God, they're awful, man. And how bad? They're 21-55 in the Western Conference. Currently I believe they're second or third last in the Western Conference. They're terrible. Now, there is some context to why they've been terrible. It's because the injuries oh boy. This team is the most injury-prone team I've ever seen my entire life. Literally from games 1 through 5, I kid you not, the very first game, we lost DeJounte Murray, who we got from Atlanta, who was actually pretty good. We lost him the first game. He was out for a month. And then we lost Zion Williamson a week or two later. He was out for a couple months. Now that's a given at this point, because Zion Williamson can't stay healthy to save his life. So everybody was just trying to pitch in the best they can, but it was just too little, too late. They just fell apart so fast, and the health of the team fell apart even worse. And on top of that, we traded Brandon Ingram to the Raptors, and for why? Because for starters, we couldn't afford to pay the guy, and I love Brandon Ingram to death, but we just couldn't afford him because we already paid Zion Williamson that big contract already, and We also paid Trey Murphy as well. So, it's just so that they had to do what was best. But at the time, Brandon Ingram was injured as well. So it's like this team can't catch a break, man. Like it was just one bad thing after another, and by the time it was like game 30 something, I don't know, the team was already barely having 10 wins. It was pretty bad. Like it's been awful from day one of this season. So, but it's terrible. And here's like, let me just read the team's current stats. In points per game, they are 24th out of 32. Ouch. And then rebounds per game, they are 20th out of 32. Ouch. Assists per game, 19th, so kind of middle of the pack. And then points allowed, 26th out of 32. Ouch. It's just been it's been bad news Pelicans all season long, and it's just it's such a shame they really have fallen apart due to injuries. But at the same time, and this is where I'm about to get critical about the Pelicans here, at the same time, there's a lot of blame that can be passed around. And I have been defending Willie Green for a long time, ever since he became a head coach. I gave him a lot. I let things slide because in the first year he was with us, it started out really bad, but then somehow he made a magical run and got into the Western Conference playoffs and went 6 games against the number one Phoenix Suns in a very close matchup. Like the Pelicans gave it all they got, but unfortunately they fell short. Excuse me. And at that time I thought, okay, this could be a really good Pelicans team that we could finally root for, because it's been years since we had a really good Pelicans team. And then next year happened, and we made the play-in tournament for a second year in a row. We couldn't make the playoffs. We lost a close game to, I think it was the Clippers at the time. I can't remember, but no, it was the Timberwolves. I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but anyway, that season had a little more high hopes, but it didn't exactly go the way we hoped. But it was still a good season. The sucky part was that Zion Williamson went down for the rest of the remainder of that season, and things weren't as great. But we were still competitive enough to get into the play-in tournament that year. So that was year 2. Year 3, I would say we got better. Zion Williamson actually played a whole season and only missed like a handful of games. We thought, okay, maybe Zion finally turned it around. No. As soon as the play-in tournament started, now granted, we did make the playoffs that year, and that was last season actually. We did make the playoffs, but losing Zion in the play-in tournament really hurt us. And it hurt us so bad that we got swept by the Oklahoma Thunder last season in the playoffs. It wasn't even close. It was, game 1 was close, but the other 3, not so much. It's just, it was bad. And now this season, well, as I just read to y'all, it's been ugly. It's been bad. And at this point, it's really, really making me question Willie Green's ability to coach his team. Now, as I stated, it seemed like he had a lot of promise in the first 3 years, but this year, now I know injuries have been playing a factor, and the Pelicans may use as an excuse, like the Saints have been doing lately. But in my opinion, I think it's time that we should just let Willie Green go. Like, and don't get me wrong, I think Willie Green was great. He's been a great filler for us. Like, he's actually done pretty decent for the most part. The problem is, and this is something I've been picking up on lately that I didn't want to recognize right away, but have now accepted it as reality. This man cannot put up a good lineup, like at all. Like when a player goes missing, he just throws in anybody that plays well, and he doesn't call out good enough basketball plays. Now, look, I'm not a big basketball expert, but I know how plays run because I used to play high school basketball. I won a state championship at the time. But running an effective basketball play is guaranteed you points. That's the one thing my coach told me at the time. I'll never forget that. But when you don't run a play, you're just out there just trying to shoot the ball or be a one-man team, which is what the Pelicans have been doing these last 4 years. It's not going to work. Like, you can't just be a one-man team and just not change nothing. You need to have the entire team in sync. Like, if you ever want to beat teams like the Los Angeles Lakers or the Oklahoma Thunder, the Houston Rockets, like teams like them that are currently about to make the playoffs, or Minnesota Timberwolves, that's another good example. If you want to beat teams like that, they actually run plays. They actually can shoot the ball pretty well because they have really good players, obviously. But at the same time, you gotta be able to run a effective play and also run an effective defense. That's another thing. Like in basketball, now defense is different than football, obviously. But if you can, that's the thing. The Pelicans have never played a good defense. They never have, and that's my biggest pet peeve about the Pelicans in these last 4 years. Now the stats may say that the defense has actually improved. Well, when you're allowing 118 points a game, especially this year, and then the year before that you're allowing just as close to that, that's not really good. Now, this year's NBA is different from what I saw back then when Chris Paul used to be with the then Hornets of New Orleans. The team used to be called the Hornets, but now they're the Pelicans. And I remember holding teams down below 90 points. And today's NBA, we're trying to hold teams down below 100 points. Good luck. So yeah. So, like, overall, the Pelicans they need a change in leadership. They need a change at head coach. I think it's time that we let Willie Green go. And I thank you for his time and service here, but it's time for us to just pull the plug and move on with this team. And plus, this team needs a major shape-up. We need to draft a new guy that could be a better starter than what Zion Williamson is. And this is what I'm about to touch up on Zion Williamson. Zion, I'm done with this guy. I'm just done. I know he is ultimately talented. He's got the skill. The problem is the dang dude cannot stay healthy. And he keeps getting himself into these perverted problems, like if you wonder what the heck I'm talking about. So earlier, was it last off season? I think it was last off season. So last off season, he somehow got into this whole baby daddy shenanigans, and I'm not going to go into details just for the public's sake, because they're sexually graphic, and I'm not going to touch up on that. But he got himself into a baby daddy-ish problem, and maybe baby mama, excuse me. You know what I'm talking about. But that's as far as I'm going to go with that. It's just he's distracted easily, and he cannot maintain his weight. And on top of that, he's just hardly available. Hardly. When he's actually fixated on staying healthy, the man is a beast. There's no doubt about that. But he has not been that way ever since we drafted him. I'm just done with it. I'm just done. I think it's just time we either trade him, cut him, or something. Because Zion is just not the answer anymore to this team. It's time that we acknowledge that he needs to be let go. We need to trade him off to another team that maybe might be better suited for him, or maybe he can actually be healthy for them. I don't know which comes first, but it's just time that we need to just address the real main problem that Zion Williamson is holding us back. And I might get a lot of flack for this because I know a lot of people like Zion Williamson, that like he's their favorite players. It's like I try to make him one of my favorite players. It's just he is become so unlikable and so it's just so unlikable. It's just like I just cannot get on board with him anymore. So I'm just done with him. So my suggestion, and this is just my opinion, we need to trade him off to another team. Just start over. We should fixate more our focus on Trey Murphy, because I think Trey Murphy is our best shooter on this team, clearly. And Jose Alvarado, we know he's our best defender. That's a given. CJ McCollum, honestly, I think we should let him go too, because there's been moments where he has choked with the team as well. And while he's played well with us, he just cannot come through on clutch moments. I think we need to toss him to the side as well. The point is, I think the team needs a major reshape, and we should focus on the draft. I don't know if we're getting number one. That's remains to be seen, but we'll see what happens. So those are my thoughts with the Pelicans of today. I don't expect them to be getting any better anytime soon, at least for this season. So, with that being said, I'm going to now go to my next subject, which is the controversial subject. It's about the Saints hold up, let me start over. It's talking about my controversial draft picks. So, specifically at quarterback. So, I'll post the I'm gonna post each player's stats on after I'm done recording this. I'll probably post it on the side for y'all to look at for yourselves. So, but we're gonna start with Cam Ward. So Cam Ward, he played 5 seasons, but he was on 3 different teams. He started at UIW. I don't know who they are. It's one of them smaller ranked schools. Then he played at Washington State for 2 years, and then he played his one last season with Miami, which ultimately was his best season as a Power 5 quarterback. But his ultimate best season was really with UIW, whoever they are. But that's one of those group of 5 teams, so we don't really acknowledge that as much. So, anyway, so stats-wise, I can definitely understand why people are so high on him. Like, his last season, he threw for 4,313 yards. He averaged at 9.5 yards a game per throw. He had 39 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he only took 22 sacks, which isn't too bad, actually. So, now his running ability, it's not much, but hey, I can kind of see why. But like I said before, my problem is he has a bad tendency to not beat good teams. So if I can see him play against a good team, then I can understand why people are very high on him. So that's why he was in one of my honorable mentions in my last video, because I can see why, because he's definitely got the stats. He can back that up for himself. But in my personal opinion, I don't think he would be I don't think he'd be a good fit for the Saints. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the next quarterback. That'd be Shedeur Sanders. So Shedeur Sanders had his best season last season, ironically. He played 2 seasons at Jackson State University and then 2 seasons with Colorado. He had his last season. He had 4,134 yards. He averaged 8.7 yards per throw, and then he had 37 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. But he had 42 sacks. Now it's not as bad as the year. It's not as bad as the year before, where he had 52 sacks and he threw 1,000 yards less, and he even had 10 less interceptions, but also 7 less interceptions. Oh, hold up, let me rephrase that. He had 10 less touchdowns and 7 less interceptions. So, but to me, like I said, I'm not high on Shedeur Sanders. And plus, when you think about Colorado, especially Jackson State, you're just thinking, I don't know about that one. I don't. Like, sure, his stats look nice, but at the same time, do you really want to, take a chance with this guy? Like, not to mention, he already has an attitude problem that I'm not keen on. So, yeah, I don't care about... I just don't care about this guy as much. Like, he doesn't scream, oh, yeah, I need to draft this guy ASAP. Nobody else should have him but us. No. Not in my opinion, no, absolutely not. Like, I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a bust in this NFL, and I don't know who's going to be the poor set that will draft him, but I can tell you one thing, it's not going to be us. So, and then I'm going to touch up on Jalen Milroe, just for the sake of it, because I've seen some people mention that Jalen Milroe is a better option than Jaxson Dart. Look at these stats. Tell me what you see. What I see is a quarterback that is garbage. He didn't even break 3,000 yards twice. And he can't, and he obviously can't throw many touchdowns. Look how low his touchdowns are as a starter. 16 last season, and he threw 11 interceptions. Are you kidding me? And then he took 23 sacks, but look at the year before that. He may have thrown a little more touchdowns, a little less interceptions. 44 sacks? Are you kidding me? Then you have to look at his rushing stats. His rushing stats are really good, so I'll give him that much. But goodness gracious, it's some people mention that he has a lot of raw talent, and he can run. Where's the raw talent? Where is that? Because I'm not seeing it based off these stats. And I watched this dude be a starter for Alabama for 2 years. I am not convinced, not at all. Where's that raw talent? Sure, he can run the ball well, and I know he has a pretty good deep ball, but his short game sucks, his mid game sucks, takes too many sacks, loses the football too often, and not throwing it, but I know he fumbled a good bit too. So it's where's the sacks? Sacks, wow. Where is his talent that y'all speak of? I would love to hear the answer to that. So, with that being said, let's go on and move on to Jaxson Dart. This is probably spent a good minute on here. So Jaxson Dart, much better stats than Jalen Milroe. Now, are they compared to Cam Ward stats? In a way, sort of. But the difference between Cam Ward and Jaxson Dart is that Jaxson Dart threw less touchdowns than Cam Ward, but he also threw less interceptions than Cam Ward. So there's that edge. He also took a good number of sacks, so I will acknowledge that. But you know what? And this probably will apply to Cam Ward as well. It's just when you have a pretty bad O-line, you have a tendency to get sacked a lot. And now if you scramble a lot and you just suck at scrambling, well, I can't help you there. So, but Jaxson Dart knew how to scramble. But at the same time, I watched him for all 3 years that he was at Ole Miss, and he scrambled a lot, but sometimes the O-line just caved too quickly, and he just could not get out of the pocket fast enough. So, but last season, he had his best year, throwing 4,279 yards. He averaged 10.8 yards per throw, He had 29 touchdowns, which is his ultimate best, threw only 6 picks, and took 28 sacks, which isn't too bad. He didn't fumble as much either. I think he had like 2 or 3 fumbles all year. Um, so, but if you look at Dart's last 3 years, I'm not counting the 1 year at USC because he wasn't playing the entire season that year. I heard, but you look at how he just steadily increased his stats. Like they actually got better and better. Now you expect him to get better too, right? And like you also like compare that to Cam Ward. Cam Ward did pretty much the same thing, sort of. And then like maybe compare that to Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders went up and down, but his best season was last year. Then you really got to compare that to Jalen Milroe, who just simply stayed put or just did not. He didn't do any better, in my opinion. So, some people might say I'm biased, and yes, I did mention that it might sound biased because I'm an Ole Miss fan, but at the same time, I still think Jaxson Dart would be a better pick than these other 3 quarterbacks that are considered prospects. Like, I don't see the vision with Shador Sanders at all. I think he's a bust. Definitely not Jalen Milroe, for God's sake. Just no. Cam Ward, I kind of understand because his stats are very attractive, and he did play really well with Miami and those other 2 teams. But Jaxson Dart, I have a soft spot for him because obviously he played for my Ole Miss Rebels, but at the same time, I see so much potential in him, more potential than Cam Ward and those other 2 buffoons. So it's just like now, if the Saints were to draft Cam Ward, I would not be mad at all. And whoever drafts Jaxson Dart, best of luck. You guys got yourself a great pick. That's the non-bias in me. Like I guarantee whoever picks Jaxson Dart, if it's not the Saints, they're gonna be really good with them. I guarantee that much. And if we end up with Cam Ward, then great. I don't know if we are going to end up with Cam Ward. I don't know what the Saints' thought process is right now. But I'm telling you, I still think Jaxson Dart would be a better fit for us than for any other team in the NFL. Now, some people have mentioned that Jaxson Dart is the only reason people really don't like Jaxson Dart is because he was in a RPO styled offense. There we go. And what that basically is, the quarterback takes a quick look at the field, and he either hands it off to the running back or takes it himself, or he hands it off to the running back and he throws it. It's a given option. It's actually pretty effective. And college football is kind of like adapted to it since then. It doesn't really apply to the NFL as much. I mean, there might be some offenses that still do that, or maybe each NFL team has a play like that, but it's not really applied as much. So yeah, I can understand that's a valid criticism to Jaxson Dart, but at the same time, when you enter the NFL, you're getting groomed to be a good NFL quarterback. It sometimes pans out, sometimes it doesn't. So, I'll say the same thing towards Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, and Shador Sanders. They may end up having really good coaches that can groom them to be really good quarterbacks. You just never know. But at this point in time, I'm just talking about the Saints specifically. I just think that we're better off with Jaxson Dart over any of these other quarterbacks, with Cam Ward being an honorable mention. So. And at the same, and the other criticisms I heard is that Jaxson Dart is inconsistent in SEC play. I'm sorry. Did you not watch him play at Ole Miss? He was actually one of the most winningest SEC quarterbacks in the SEC. Like, was he perfect? No, obviously not, because, everybody knows the SEC. It's a battle to the death down here. So it's like, no matter who you are, you're going to get a fight. Like, freaking Vanderbilt gave Alabama a fight and won. Yes, you heard that right. Vanderbilt beat Bama last year. Like, that's what I'm talking about. The SEC is a battleground to the death. So it's like, of course everybody's going to struggle. We're too busy trying to beat each other up. So like that, it applies to Jaxson Dart too. So it's like, I'm telling you, like I think people are just judging him the wrong way, and I'm gonna be also critical towards Jaxson Dart while also support him because he was Ole Miss's best quarterback, and that's really all I got to say about it. So I think if people really looked at his highlights and really like studied his game, I think they would see him differently. But hey, look, I can't convince everybody. If you don't like him, if you don't agree that he should be a quarterback, that's totally fine. Agree to disagree. But those are just my thoughts. And yeah, so anyway, well, a longer video than I anticipated, but but I hope you enjoyed this video. I think I'm just going to wrap it up here now. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe at the end. If you haven't seen my last episode, check it out in the description below, or it might pop up on this YouTube feed at some point. So, but don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and leave any comments if you like. So, alrighty gang, I'll catch you guys later. Do that, baby.